See, no music. We're live. We're live for that.
I mean, oh, hello everybody. Sorry about the no music. Bit of a mad 5 minutes getting set up here, but we're here and we're ready to start. So, hello, are we live on LinkedIn?
I hope
Very
so.
good. Okay,
Also,
excellent.
I can soon find out. Yes, I'm on LinkedIn now. Let's go to home. Yeah, it says live. We're live somewhere.
Hey, excellent. Well, hello everybody. Good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning, or whatever day it is, or time of the day. I'm afraid I'm full of cold and quite nasally, so I do apologise. And I may well sneeze and grab tissues. I've got everything at the ready, so just in case. Um, but this is quite a good topic because we've just had the authors conference, which covered, one of the biggest phobias that we ever have, which is public speaking. Um, but on definition, I thought I'd go back and do a bit of homework for us all. And before the whole event is finished, I'm going to take 5 minutes just to talk to you about talking to children about the stuff they might see on the television and the stuff that might be scaring them. So, the definition of what is a fear or what is fear? Fear is a normal survival response. We all know that. It activates the nervous system. The amygdala goes absolutely into a completely crazy moment, and you get the fight, flight, freeze reaction. Um, it is triggered, fear is triggered by a real live situation, a perceived threat. Um, you're under attack, you're being chased, and it will always be adaptive to proportionate in danger. So, for example, footsteps behind you, then they speed up a bit, you will speed up a bit. You'll take a reaction to the action or the action to the reaction. It's a spiral. Um, Speeding cars coming towards you, you jump back. It's kind of like almost automatic and responsive. Um, that's what we would call a fear that is a normal response to fear. Normal as in normal. Um, what is irrational fear? So, a fear, the response that is disproportionate to actual danger. The person may recognize it as excessive or may not significantly impair daily functioning. So, what I mean by these things, it's a exaggerated reaction to threat. So if you imagine the first one, which is fear, real fear, that would be big fish, big reaction. If you imagine irrational fear, it's just little fish and it should require a little reaction. But everything becomes disproportionate. Everything comes out of that kind of lane that you would expect. So, based on exaggerated perception of threat, you would overreact, you would cause yourself distress, you may go into panic attack, you can set yourself into all kinds of spirals. And for example, you're on an aeroplane and you're flying, a normal flight, normal time, normal everything. The safety statistics are that the plane will be fine. But you might start thinking about how many planes go down and how many whatever, should I be at the front of the plane or the back of the plane? Did I make a mistake buying a seat in the middle? That kind of thing. Another example that I've written down is you say something meaning an opinion, and that opinion is just your opinion based on something you've heard. It could be, for example, somebody might say, if you chew chewing gum, your teeth fall out. And you've heard that So you repeat it. And then you tell more people because it's really worrying you about your teeth because you chew chewing gum all the time. And now it becomes a concern. You could react completely irrationally to something. And then other people begin to, no, that's not right. It's not how it is. But in your mind, it's exactly how it is. So it's really important that you sort of almost try and pull yourself back into the lane. It's like you've veered over in the car, right? So you're in a dual carriageway and all of a sudden you're veering in the wrong direction straight to the central reservation or whatever. So that's kind of the example. What is a phobia? Now, this is really interesting. A phobia, the clinical definition, a phobia is a type of anxiety disorder classified in the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual as a mental disorder. Now, in my books, DSM-5, it's down as a mental disorder. In fact, we all probably suffer from that one mental disorder, but we wouldn't have called it that. Persistent, excessive, unreasonable fear, triggered by specific object or situation, leads to a avoidance behavior, causes significant distress or functional impairment. So, for example, I am very frightened of mice and very frightened of spiders. I know, Annie, you're a great friend of mice, but me, no. No, not at all. So if a mouse ran across the floor, as much as it's difficult for me to jump up on a chair, I would jump up on a chair. I would somehow get myself out of the way. I've got better with spiders because when you live on your own, and I did for a few years, I could get a Tupperware or a glass and put it over the spider if it was small enough. But I remember once years ago, and I know nobody believes this, but it was absolutely true. I had, like the light, we have takeaway Chinese tubs, which are, I call Chinese because what Chinese comes in. But it's a very, very thin plastic takeaway type cover of the plastic lid. And if you wash them out and put them in the dishwasher, you can use them yourself for bits and pieces. And I had one of those type. It was as light as a thing. It was a small, small container, probably yay big, yay deep. Very, very light. But it was going to cover this spider. And I grabbed it because it's the first thing I saw. And I put it over the spider. And all of a sudden, the bloody Tupperware thing or the container started moving. I was squealing like, the people in the neighbours must have thought something terrible was happening. Because I figured it must have been like much bigger than I imagined, and it was able to just push this thing a little bit. I was being so over the top with an exaggerated reaction. That is a phobia. Asking people to go into a lift when lifts terrify them is a phobia. My mum, we were at the hospital and she had to go in the lift because I couldn't walk up bloody stairs. She couldn't walk up the stairs. We had to go up in the lift. We got in the lift and I literally saw sweat pouring down her face. She started to get all clammy and hanging on like grim life to the metal side of the lift. And I was thinking, oh, thank goodness it's one floor. I've only got to go up one floor. But it's just seeing somebody so scared of something that I wasn't. It was in my mind irrational, but she probably wouldn't have reacted the same way to a spider that I do. She would a mouse, but not a spider. I'm going to run through a few because I think that that some of them I've got a story to tell in a moment, which I think you'll understand why I kind of am interested in this. This is something I wrote a paper on. But phobias, animal phobias, really everybody knows many of them. Arachnophobia, everyone knows the fear of spiders, that's me. But there's so many, and some I can't pronounce. But the Diophobia is the fear of snakes. The cynophobia is the fear of dogs. There's the ornithobia, which is the fear of birds. There's the natural environment phobias, like the agoraphobia, the fear of heights. Astrophobia, the fear of thunder or lightning. Agoraphobia, which is the fear of water, aquaphobia. And then nicotinophobia is the fear of darkness. So nyctophobia, not nicotine, nyctophobia, very nasal, sorry. People that don't like needles is a huge one. This would be Charles. See, who's run away now because I'm talking about needles. That's the trypanophobia. So needles, huge problem. Blood is another one, which is the hemophobia, as in hemophobia. Then there's the dentophobia, which is the fear of dentists. I've got that a little bit, getting better. Obviously, situational phobias like claustrophobia and agoraphobia, and which is the fear of situations where you can't escape. And then aviophobia, which is the aviation, flying. Other ones that people quite know but don't know why that we have it. I have been so ill since my gallbladder removal and issues with my pancreas. I don't stop having to use one of these. Always got one handy. Not on the show, hopefully. Haven't eaten specifically. But the phobia of the fear of vomiting. So it's not just vomiting, but it's the fear that you might is huge, and that's emetophobia. That's something that I studied because it seems to me that it's not actually being ill, it's not the fear of being ill, it's that specific one of being sick. Many people don't drink for the fear of that. I mean alcohol for the fear of it. The fear of childbirth is an obvious one, really. That's togophobia. And one I've got more is fear of clowns, that many people say, oh, clowns, they really send me all over the place. The fear of clowns is coulrophobia. C-O-U, sorry, I got to look underneath my glasses. Coulrophobia, so coulrophobia. That is the fear of clowns. Right, story time. So, I am in my mid-20s. I'm out repping, going around meeting clients. I call it repping, but whatever, selling products. And I've done a long journey to Manchester, 3-4 hours driving, stopped at the services for a wee and a sandwich. And of course it would be me. I've got my sandwich and I'm ordering a cup of coffee. And on top of the counter, there's fruit. And a lady says to me, can you put one of those bananas on my tray, please? So I said, yeah, of course. Looking at her thinking, why can't she? She's got a baby and she's got a pushchair, she's got a tray. So I'm thinking maybe it's to do with that. So I very kindly, because you know me, I'd do anything for anyone, took the banana, put it on the tray. And then I paid for my coffee and my sandwich and I went to sit down. And she came and sat pretty much there, like I'm here. She was there, just directly opposite me. Is this seat spare? She said. I said, yeah. So she sat down and she could you do me a favor? I said, yeah, what's that? She said, can you take the banana off the tray for me? So I'm thinking there's some hidden camera and someone's taking the mickey out of me or something's going on here. So I said, yes, of course. So, and she said, can you open the banana? And now I'm thinking, okay, where's the camera? Where's the joke? So I open the banana and she says, could you cut it up for me? And at this point, I'm looking at her and I said, oh, yeah, of course I will. But can I please ask you why? She said, yes, of course you can. She said, my child loves bananas, but I'm scared of them. And I said, I'm sorry. She said, I know. Everyone looks at me like that. She said, but it's a phobia I have. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, what do you want me to do? And I put the banana on the high chair and the baby started munching the banana. I said, you can watch the baby eat it, but she said, well, now it's out of its, I'm all good now. I can take it from here. And I sort of looked at her and went, how? She said, because it's just now mush. It's not that yellow thing. I was like, oh, okay. And I'm kind of thinking, I'm glad I've got my coffee to go. So I ate my sandwich, got my coffee to go, and I left. I wished her well and whatever. And just as I'm leaving, she said, could you do me a favour? I said, what's that? Could you put that skin on your tray and get rid of it for me so I don't have to touch it? So I said, yeah, of course, no problem. And I did exactly that. And I kind of thought, this is the strangest thing ever. And then when I went into work the next day, I was telling the story as you do, and someone said, "Oh, my brother's girlfriend's got that." I was like, "Really?" And then somebody else said, "I know someone. One of my neighbours got a problem with bananas." And I was like, "That has got to be the most unusual phobia ever." Move on many years, Ben is now, let's put him at 5, 4.5, 5, and he's going to start school. And they wear a white Airtex top with buttons. Now, I have never put Ben in buttons because Ben didn't like buttons. I don't know why he didn't like buttons. I didn't know whether it was because he struggled with dexterity issues. He had dyspraxia as well as autism. So sometimes the fine motor skill things he struggled with. He could write beautifully because we'd worked on it, but buttons threw him. So I'd not really pushed it. I'd got sweatshirts and things that didn't need buttons. Of course, now he's going to school, there's no option. I said I'd chop the buttons off. The school said, you won't. I said, okay, I won't. I asked, can I chop it? No, he has to have the buttons. I said, okay, fine. It wasn't until he was doing PE, because he used to have one or two done up and one was open, and he couldn't get it over his head with just the one, so he literally had to open the second one, and he couldn't do it. He would absolutely freeze, and I was like, what is it about the buttons? I don't understand, Ben, help me. He said, I don't like them, I'm scared of them. I said, what's there to be scared of? He said, I don't know, I'm just scared of them, I can't explain it. And I thought, bananas. And it was the first time I've ever correlated things that made, I get spiders, I get mice, I get rooms, I get lifts, I get understand things, bananas. And anyway, I move on. Next story. My cleaning lady, no, my cleaning lady, the lady that did my ironing, um, she was at our house. Ben was on half term. The fridge that we keep all the condiments and ketchups and stuff in, is a small little fridge that's sort of built into the unit. So it's rubbish. It holds so little. So we used to keep jams and things like that in it. So she's got the ironing board. If you can just picture this, the ironing board is, if you imagine that's the ironing board, the fridge is here. Can you all see that? So Ben pops round her, opens the fridge, and he gets tomato ketchup out. Next thing, she is legging it out of the kitchen. I don't mean just a bit. I mean like running. And I said to Ben, what did you say to her? He said, nothing, nothing. I don't know what's going on. I just got the tomato ketchup out to put on my sausages, my sandwich. I said, don't worry, I'll go and find her. I found her in my lounge crying. I said, what's the matter? She'd get that stuff away from me. Get it away from me. I said, what are you talking about? She said, I've got a real phobia at ketchup and banana, buttons, ketchup. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how many things do we let our minds send into a swirly whirly about stuff that we can't explain? Ben was very concerned, so he said, I'm hiding it, bless his heart. So he hid it. He hid it in the lounge, so she didn't see it anymore. And she thanked him. And he said, I'm going to eat my sandwich in a different room. So she said, thank you, Ben. And that was the end of the tomato ketchup. And I said, how long have you been like this? She said, all my life. I said, how old are you? She said, 66. And I was like, wow. She said, as long as I can remember, I've been like it. It's ruined relationships and everything. So, excuse me. So anyway, what happened was Ben had gone off to a different room. And he came back and he said, it's called, and he'd written it down on a post-it note and he put it on the ironing board. He said, it's a real phobia. Now, I haven't got that one written down because it's about that long, but it's a real phobia, the fear of tomato ketchup. And I really want to say at this point, I am not in any way shaking Mickey out of anyone. I'm just showing you how strange things can just send us into a complete spiral. What actually happens, just so we get the science bit right, the amygdala detects a direct threat, the same as it would if it was the fear, flight, freeze one. It does exactly the same thing because we tell it to. We absolutely tell it there is a direct threat from the ketchup, from the buttons, from the bananas, from the spiders, from the whatever. We become we're going to what's called stress response mode. So the hypothalamus goes into like an active stress exactly the same as it would in a fight, flight, freeze. We create a huge amount of adrenaline and cortisol, and everything gets released at the same time, which heightens us because it's putting us into that mode of what do we need to do? What do we need to do? How do we react? What we've got to do? How do we sort this problem out? Your heart rate will quite often really go up quite high. Your breathing will quicken, which is why we always talk to children about getting their breathing under control with situations. And you will also some people get tense. Now, I've heard of people being in fearful situations that are what I would call fight, flight, freeze, genuine, scary, and they're trying to shout, trying to say something, and nothing comes out because the heart, the breathing, everything goes out of sync, and the end result is that you can't even get that noise out. You can't even get a squeal or a squeak. You also can't move from the spot. Your feet feel planted like weights. The key thing for me about this is it's no different to a panic attack. That is me describing the same thing as a panic attack. That is exactly how you scientifically would describe a panic attack. And all we ever do with panic attacks is try to get the breathing under control, the heart rate under control, and then understand what the problem is, whether it's an asthma panic or which is something I've had before now, where I just can't breathe. But that's really been in a situation where it's genuinely an illness is causing the problem. And then you really can't get that control. But with these irrational ones, it kind of almost makes you look a bit strange, you know? I remember somebody saying to Ben, "What's wrong with you? Why don't you like buttons? What have they ever done to you?" Kind of making it a bit of a like me and the lady with the banana. I never made a joke of it. I just was like, I genuinely thought someone was filming me and was gonna like candid camera kind of thing, make a joke of it, or it's some sort of funny situation. But of course, to her, she was in that same state that I've just spoken about. The triggers to avoid, how do we deal with it? If you're not careful, you get into a cycle where you see it, you think it, you rinse around again, you think it, you see it, you rinse around again. And the more you get into that loop, it's like being in a washing machine. You're going round, 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 around. And all you're doing is heightening your heart rate, heightening your blood pressure, creating your breathing to get either rapid or very slow, one or the other. And only you know what that happens and what that feels like. It feels like you're being strangled. It's like asphyxiation. That's just like what happens in a panic attack. So if you ever know or see anyone in a panic attack, that can be how reactive we can be to phobias. And I think that is something really worth thinking about, because when we lose our, I'm not allowed to say certain words, am I? When we lose our whatever, blank, rhymes with it, over something, and we absolutely cannot understand why, everyone around us is going, "Is that crazy woman over there? What's wrong with her?" But you are seeing something else, right? I had a morphine overdose in hospital a few years back, um, 7, 8 years ago. 3 nurses had all given me my morphine. They hadn't written it up because they were so busy. They were running around. They knew I needed it. I was screaming in agony. They came in, gave me my morphine, forgot to write it up. Someone came in, saw they hadn't written it up, gave me my morphine. They didn't write it up. Somebody else came in. Now, could I have sued the hospital? Of course I could. But what actually happened was I went into this, the fear, flight, fear and fright, freeze, everything was going on, but it was worse because everybody became a zombie. And I've never even seen that many zombie films or anything, but they were all walking in the zombie walk and they were all coming at me, and it was terrifying. And the lovely lady who I got on so well with, who used to bring the tea and the biscuits round, she came in my room. It was a private room. She came in my room and I just screamed. And she like almost dropped the things she was carrying and like ran out and went and got someone, and then they came in with her, and then I screamed even more because there was 2 zombies, and then there were 3 zombies and 4 zombies, and the screaming continued until they gave me something else to shut me up and make me go to sleep. And then the supervisor or the whatever said, "So how much morphine has she had?" Checking the right, and someone said, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I forgot to write it up. I was so busy with somebody else who was really ill next door, and like there wasn't anybody else to help, so I just gave her the morphine because she was in so much pain, and I left her." And then somebody else went, "So did I." She said, "Well, did you write it up?" And she said, "No." And then the third person who did write it up said, "I did actually administer the morphine." And they said, "But we all did." So instead of having 20 mil of morphine, I'd had 60, which is like a massive overdose. And that's why drugs can be so dangerous. Now, yes, I could have sued them. Did I want to? Did they mean to do it? Was it deliberate? Did I get over it? Yeah, I can tell you about it now because it's just a thing that happened. At the time, oh my gosh, it was like being picked up and put into a television film, into a horror movie. Um, and I couldn't explain it. I couldn't afterwards. I was like, "I'm really sorry I shouted at you." And they were like, "No, no, no, it's fine." And I had to give the lady that made the biscuits and the coffee and cuddles because I felt so bad. It's so important not to mock or laugh at something we don't understand. That's my message today. Is really about when people have got or react in a certain way to something, until we understand it, we really don't have the right to mock. I've got so many books that you can read that are sort of sciencey books, but that they all talk about what you can do to help fear, flight, freeze, phobias, fears, all this stuff. To be honest, most of them involve everything that we already know, which is to calm, get your breathing under control. That's always the first one. Go straight to your breathing. Breathing is always the place you need to go. Obviously, in the middle of an asthma attack, that can be difficult. You might need to use a spacer or a mask to get Ventolin into somebody or something like that. Or while you're waiting for an ambulance, if it's really that serious. And panic attacks can be as serious as a heart attack. It's because it's sending the body into all of those same reactions. But understanding that you have that problem, like with the lady with the banana, she'd overcome her fear by saying to herself, right, if I see someone who looks kind and friendly, I'll ask them. She asked me, I obviously did it. Then she thought, I'll push it and get her to do a bit more for me, i.e., peel the banana, put it on the baby's high chair and cut it up. And then she could take over and then ask me to get rid of it. That was her way of handling it. The child still got what it needed and wanted. It wasn't being given a treat that was not healthy. It was being given what it wanted, but something that she was going to struggle to give him. So, understanding your anxiety towards whatever it is the first thing. Trying to understand whether it is uncomfortable or whether it's deadly. So, are you living in Australia and there are snakes and there are clearing out a cupboard or in a garage or something in Australia, you might well be looking for spiders and snakes and things like that. Over here, you might get the odd dormouse or something, but that's about as far as it goes. And there'll probably be cobwebs and spiders, but we can get them with the Henry Hoover, or if we're kind, we'll catch them like Charles does. Charles catches things and puts them outside. I'm like, just get it outside and make sure it knows not to come back. Tell it. I bought these things you plug in that are supposed to keep spiders away. And Charles said, has it worked? I said, well, I've still seen a few. He said, yeah. He said, I haven't seen any elephants. Perhaps they're keeping elephants away. And I was like, what are you talking about, elephants? Why would it keep elephants away? And he said, well, why is it keeping spiders away when we're still getting spiders coming in? And I was like, okay, so that's sarcasm. I'll let it go because he doesn't understand. He doesn't get it. But one day I'll find out. I found out. Go into labour. Or I didn't know I was going into labour. My waters broke. Ben was extended breech. It was always going to have to be a cesarean, but it became a much bigger operation. And I mean a much bigger operation, because trying to get a baby out that's 7 pounds, that's wedged, with his arms either side of my rib cage, not good. And what happened was Charles was going to be in there with me. They put all this big green stuff over that end, the business end. He was up the other end with me. But obviously it was a big, very big operation. We were warned about all the risks. In other countries, I wouldn't be alive, and neither would Ben be. But here's the thing. 1 minute, Charles is holding my hand. The next minute, he's on one of those wheelie seats, like a little stool with wheels. Next thing I see him, I had an epidural, so I was awake, could see. The surgeon just put his head over the top of the green thing to say, everybody okay, right? As he did that, he'd got goggles on and everything, and they were splattered with blood. child, gone. And they just literally just pushed him on this. He was only half in or half out. And suddenly he was shot through the double doors to get him out of the room. And then some nurse went out with him and sorted him out and had a word. And he was gone for about 10 minutes. And he had a glass of water and he came back in again. But then we explained, or the nurse explained, he's really not good with blood, really not good with needles. Can we keep all that away from him? And he was just going to turn his back to everything and just look at my face, which, when you're lying there being pulled about, it was quite difficult. But yeah, that's when I found out. That was the first time I knew how bad it was how he just went like that. COVID, the jabs. They said you've got to have the jabs. When we were going to Kenya on holiday many years ago, I said, you're going to have these jabs and da-da. And he looked at me and went, not sure I want to go. I'm like, come on, send me an injection. Makes sense. What's wrong with you? Kenya, you want to go safari? Blah, 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 blah. It was terrifying. He went in, he went all woozy, that to look after him, and they called me in, and they were like, we're not going to be able to do 2 or 3 at the same time. Sorry, we're not going to do 1 or 2 at a time. We're going to try and hit him with like 3. So we've got him in here and it's done, and then come back in a few weeks' time for the last ones. So we were like, okay, fine. I'm going back. Ain't happening. I'm not going back. So shows you. I mean, he did go back because he had to, because he couldn't go to Kenya without them. But it was really, really hard to get him to go back. I had to really beg him to do it. Needles. Who'd have thought it? But I didn't think needles and blood were connected, and there's never been any blood. We haven't never had any blood like that before. Yeah, big problem. So, when you can obviously understand that your body cannot sustain that level of anxiety and stress for very long because it becomes dangerous. So the breathing is the absolute inhaling, exhaling, box breathing, if you know what you're talking about, which is in for 4, out for 4, which is why they call it the box. You can try and hold it for longer as you get more under control. Hold it for 6 seconds, hold it for 8 seconds if you can, and then you repeat again. And the more that you do that, the more that you get control of everything comes up back to a normal rate. There are treatments you can have where you have a gradual exposure to things. I can put something over a spider now. I've got one of these catchers, which is really humane. Of course, it's Charles. It's like it's about so big, and the front end is got a little glass box. It's about so big, I suppose, the glass box. That's the glass box on the end, and it's got a slider. So you put it over it, shut it, and then the spider's inside there. Take it outside, let it go. So I can do that. I've got that good now. But if there was a spider dangling from the ceiling, I would still scream. No question. But if it's on the floor and it's not doing that runny thing, I'm not good when it does the runny thing. But if it's just sitting there going, I'm really scared of you, and I'm going, I'm really scared of you, if you're really good, I'll put you outside. We have a deal. But the ones that, if it was dangling from the ceiling, there's just no way I'll be out the room. Gone. And as for mice, it's no, 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 no. Rats. Oh, the thought that in London, I remember someone telling me, I worked in London for 30 odd years, and somebody told me, you're never more than 5 feet away from a rat. And I was like, I've never seen a rat in London. I've seen pictures of rats in London, obviously. I've seen when there's been rubbish and stuff left outside restaurants and things, when there's been disputes with dustmen and whatever. But I've refused collectors, but I've never ever not physically seen a rat. But because of they're underneath the ground, they're underneath the sewers and everything. I'm like, whoa, I don't want to know. I'm going to take that fact and I'm going to put it in the I don't care box. I'm never going to open that box again. Otherwise, I won't walk down the pavement. I know what I'm like. I just won't. So irrational, absolutely, but it's there, and that's who I am. Oh, great, we've got Roxana, hooray. So, they say you can
Paulette,
try.
Paulette, come on now.
Hang on
I,
1 minute. I've got one more thing to say,
Go on,
babe,
I'll
then
let
it's
you do
all
your one more
yours.
thing.
One
How
more
you doing,
thing.
bro?
There is a lot of evidence about how you can, like if you're scared of snakes, you can be introduced to snakes and then gradually build up. And I mean, people talk about, could you have a tarantula on your hand? And I look at them as if like they fell off the moon. There's about as much chance of that as of me going to the moon, right? So, but that's what they tell you, that there's therapies now that they can do that. They can, um, what's it called? Hypnotize you. They can hypnotize. They can teach you to, see something, see pictures of it, and you get the therapy of getting used to the picture before you get used to the real thing. Then they introduce you to the real thing. I'm not going there. I'm not going to see the spiders. I don't want to go. When we go into zoos, you coming into this bit? No, I'm not. Do you want to come and see it? No. Um, monk, I just can't do it. I'll go into the monkey enclosure and play with them, watch them. I don't want to be with the arachnids. I don't want to go and see them, Ben. But mom, it will help you. No, no, I'm not going in there. And that is, don't bother asking, it ain't happening. So I think the most important thing is you can work through them, but what we must try and do is one, not laugh, and two, try avoidance is one way, but you can't avoid things in life like bananas. They're real, like they're there, right? Buttons are everywhere. You have to deal with it. And what we had to say to Ben was, there is no choice. You have to have the buttons. I've asked. And then he said, will you help me? And I said, yes. And we made buttons his friends. And I said to him, my promise to you is as soon as you get home from school, the buttons come off. That was the deal. So he literally would be in the car, sweatshirt off, the little tiny little 3 or 4 buttons, whatever it was on his little Airtex shirt, that would be off, and the t-shirt would be sitting. It'd be sitting on the t-shirt to put, or a sweatshirt with winter to put on in the car. That was the deal. That got us through. And then guess what? He forgot about it. And then one day he didn't put the t-shirt on. We just started chatting about, very animated about something, and he didn't get undressed. And then that's how he got fixed. So that is my button story. That was my banana story. That was my spider story. That is me storied out. Over to you, Enio Song. What are you going to tell me?
How you doing, Prof? Let's welcome our friends, as I'll do that in a
Please.
second. Paulette, the answer is in the word irrational. That's it. The answer is right there. You're being way too nice. So anyway, I'll come back to me in a second. Then I'll tell you my stories, and you can tell me where to go. Right, Natalie, how you doing? Great to see you. So Michael, I see you as well. Welcome. Linda's here, joining us. Who have I missed? So Cyrus is here as well. So forcing someone with phobia of lifts to use lifts is so wrong on many levels. Yes, Cyrus, quite on the different levels, right? That's quite funny. Okay, yeah, Christy, welcome. Who else have I missed? What's Michael saying? Howdy, mate. Boy, do I have a ridiculous story for you. Excellent, excellent. I'm sure it doesn't involve me, so that's good. So Mr. Soul Man Live himself is here. Welcome to Liana's here as well. Who do we have? That's Annie, I think. That's Annie. How you? No, it's Martha. Marsha.
Hi,
Okay,
Martha.
you're here. How you doing? I think Aaron's talking to talking to other people. Right. Is this Marsha again? This is a question for you.
Absolutely. And the reason they passed down is like everything monkey see, monkey do. So I thought that I'd passed my fear of spiders on to Ben until I saw him outside in the garden with a spider in his hand, and I was like, "That's lovely. Take it away. Put it in the grass. It's a lovely spider." Um, Hi, Bethan. I mean, really, it's like one of these kids do those sorts of things without realizing they just follow what you do. So if you are really funny about tomato ketchup, you won't have tomato ketchup in your house. So then when you go to a house where there's tomato ketchup, and you go, "Oh, it's that scary stuff your mum told me about," It's yes, and it's
You know,
irrational, but
kids can learn your phobias. Of course they
of
can.
course,
They pick up on it.
absolutely,
I mean, we could ask where the phobias come from in the first place, and you find it's probably something in our childhood sometime.
exactly
That's
a
what brought
trauma
this
of some
on.
kind. 9 times out of 10, everybody says it's a trauma response. That's what everybody always says when you look in the science of it. But it's very hard to actually pinpoint. When I did my paper, it was a trauma response, but then the science says it's not. The science says it's
Hmm.
a mental, irrational
Yes. Irrational.
moment.
Irrational. No, let it go. There's no justifying crazy phobias. That's what I'll say. Now I've got enough of my own, thanks. So to know that. So Sean, welcome. Happy Monday to you too, sir. So Rick, we haven't seen you for a while. Glad you're here. Bethan says spiders, snakes, yuck. Yeah. Okay. Now, so where do I want to start? Right. Banana phobia. I've got that. It's not a phobia. I just hate bananas. I really can't stand them. My
You mean
son,
eating them or touching them or looking at them?
he offends me either way. It just offends me. My son eats them. My wife eats them. I try and avoid them. They're there. If I have to move them, I move them, but they're there. They're just evil little things, right? I know that's irrational. They're just. I don't. It's just a
I'm
thing
not
that Amy's
laughing
got.
at you. I'm laughing because
No,
you know
you're
what?
allowed. You're allowed to
It's
laugh at me. I laugh at me half the
it's
time.
somebody else who I've now found that's got that. Wait till I tell Charles. Wait till I tell Charles.
It's not just me, right? Do you know what my real phobia is? So I'll tell everyone now, once and for all. My real phobia, the thing that I really cannot even look at, is dumplings. You know what dumplings
What,
are?
like
Dough.
stew, as in
Yeah,
stew,
dumpling dough,
suet,
the flour thing that they put
suet
in there.
dumpling
Yeah, that
thing. Yeah,
thing. Yeah. No, no, no. And I know where it comes from. So when I was a kid in Nigeria, essentially, I think there was a football game going on. So I was on the side watching, and this
yep.
kid came to the side of the pitch sometime in the game and just hacked up dumplings, whole ones, unchewed, whole ones. And it's traumatized me ever since. I can't look at them. I can't even think about them. I can't even consider the idea of eating a dumpling. It's just not going to happen. So all the other ones, like the fear of needles, I've got that. They petrify me but that's not irrational. I mean, that's rational. Irrational is something that is not going to cause anywhere near the amount of damage you think is going to cause that you fear so much, right?
Banana phobia. That's what it's called.
Yes,
Banana
it's a thing.
phobia.
It's a thing. I just don't
It's a
like
rare,
bananas.
intense, and irrational fear of bananas that causes symptoms like severe anxiety, nausea, panic attacks upon smelling the fruit, seeing the fruit, touching the
Yeah,
fruit.
yeah, all of that. All
Banana
of
phobia. There you go. You've got a
right.
name.
I'm saying that my
I can
fear of
say that
needles.
one.
My fear of needles. It is a thing, but that's not irrational because I think some of these phobias they're perfectly rational, right? A
Yeah.
spider's gonna eat my head off. Yeah, right. It's not. That's silly, right? That's just silly. Mice are gonna eat you. They're not.
Listen, if
They're
it
trying to
stands
avoid you.
still, if it just stands there, it's fine. It's when it does that, it's a problem.
They have to
It's the
move.
no, 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 no.
It's
It
no more
just needs to
dangerous when it's
stand still, and
moving
I'll
than when it
catch them
stands.
and move them and pull them outside.
No,
If
no, it's a
they do
spider.
that thing, oh my God, my skin just crawls. My whole, I'm
A
like,
spider's never bitten you, never chewed you, Paulette. Never, not once, never.
no, but I just
Welcome, Doctor
can't deal.
Lisa.
I
You
just
know,
can't deal. Hi, Lisa.
right? So it's my fear of needles. Again, it comes from nurses who've jabbed me too painfully more than once. In Nigeria, when I was a kid, essentially anything that happens to you, malaria, measles, anything, flu, jab, jab, jab. And my granddad was a doctor, so I lived in a hospital. I'm saying essentially it was 3 jabs a day for everything. And some of them, bloody hell, they really hurt. So I just learned to just hate needles and just say, no, I'm not going. But then when I had to go to dentists, they got bigger needles. Damn, any. What are we going to do? So I had to go to dentist every so often. And yes, they caused me pain, but I had to, it was, I had to balance the pain I had in my toothache against the pain against the dentist needle. So I just had to just sit there and just take it and just be done with it. I normally went once, never twice, because I remember the pain. But so that I got over. So remember last injections I had, we had to go to Ghana, and my son and I say, Kobe, he's as petrified of needles as me. So but
Passed it on.
so we had to go to Boots, and we were sitting there going, yeah. But so we just like, all right, go on with it. Look the other way. She injected us, and then we left. I'm saying these irrational fears you have to get used to. I mean, the mice ones, Paulette. You know how many mice I've killed. I am the mice king. In case you lot don't know, so I've been working on my house across the country, and it was ridden with mice. There were mice running around waving at you as they go past. Hello, Annie. Nasty little things, right? And I got to know who they are. I got to know them. And I knew which ones I was looking
No,
for. Yeah. In good time, I managed to trap or glue all of them. My neighbors have no mice left. They're all gone. I had a bag full of this stuff. I had 2 bags full in the end. So we're talking 30, 40, nearly 45 mice I had to get rid of. Ignore Paul, let you get over it. Anyway, I think a lot of these phobias, a lot of these fears, they're irrational. They're not going to harm us in any which way. Ketchup can't hurt you, I promise you. Whatever you think of ketchup. A banana, it's an inanimate object. It can't do anything to you. We need to come to terms with these fears and move on.
I think the fact that a 6-year-old child who was hypersensitive about lots of things got over it just one day by getting in the car and just going, oh, this happened and this happened, and we were so excited about what had happened during the day, and completely just it was gone. And then by the time we went to sixth form, no, even when we were in the senior school, it was proper shirts, and I didn't even have to think about it. He knew it was the uniform, he had to wear it, no discussion. So I guess that really helped me that he got over it. I didn't force it on him, he just got over it, which I think is amazing if that's what you can get to. But me and spiders, no, not a chance. I mean, we went to one of our holidays very quickly, where we took Charles's parents with us on holiday and his sister, and they were doing some show in the auditorium. We all went down to watch, and before it started, they've got this guy going around entertaining people with animals and things, iguanas, and how they suddenly all the spikes come up and all this kind of stuff, and changing colours and things like this, and all these different animals, just like for you to see. And then he said, would anyone like to have us touch a snake and feel a snake? Ben puts his sodding hand up, right? Because he would, wouldn't he? Up he goes. And I'm like, no, 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 no. No, not sure. I don't have a fear of snakes. No, 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 no. And then the guy's putting it around his neck, and he's got it in his arms. The head's over here going, hello, I'm ahead. And I am out of the room, leaving Charles in charge. Suddenly, his grandmother runs out of the room. She's followed me. Like, the sisters followed me, leaving Charles and his dad there to deal with Ben on stage with this, take pictures. I'm like, pictures? Bloody get it off him. It was going round his neck and everything. And I was like, oh, I was gone. I just was like, I can't even watch. You're muted.
Snakes are vile, but they're dangerous. Again, as
I
someone
think
who grew
this
up in
one wasn't. I
Nigeria,
don't think it was. I
Nigerian
think this
snakes,
one
when I
wasn't.
see a snake, I must kill it. I just must cut its head off. I just must. I can't not. My first is to reach for a machete, cut it, and then be done with it. Because they can kill you instantly. So again, I think there's a fine line between a phobia and an irrational fear. I think we need to work out what's irrational and what's not. A spider's irrational.
Yeah.
A mouse
So
is irrational.
Ben was scared of buttons, but he could put a snake around his neck. That's all I'm trying to say is somebody who would have a small fear about something like buttons, all of a sudden, we've got two Professor Roxanne.
Yes. Let's talk to the human one, shall we?
Let's
talk
have
to
the
person.
human one.
How you doing,
Hello,
Prof?
lovely.
I'll turn the other one off unless I have to.
I'm doing well.
Excellent.
How are you doing?
We haven't seen you for a bit.
This interesting topic.
I know. I haven't seen you. You are busy making money.
I'm serving people, not making money.
Nice to see you.
See you too, lovely.
Making money. I like that. I like that.
You people are busy making money. Making money.
He's trying.
What's your take on phobias? Which phobias do you have, Prof?
I have. I don't want to say the irrational one, but I have a phobia. I have a dog phobia. Dog. Oh, when I was a child, I was bitten by a dog. And it wasn't good.
Yeah, no.
So since then, whenever I see a dog, I run away. When I see a dog, I'm going to get myself off the other camera.
That's right. I can take that off. That's fine. That's
okay. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead. So whenever I see a dog, I mean, I don't really. People go and buy dogs to live with them. I don't want to go. Sometimes I don't want to go to people's house. Well, do you have a dog? I say yes. I say okay. I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe I won't come and visit you after all. Maybe I will avoid your house. I
don't come and visit you. So I have a dog phobia. I don't want to call that phobia though, because
that's I see that because it's rational, right?
Yeah, that's because that is rational. It's not irrational.
And
I don't know. I don't know.
So you know, that one was called cynophobia.
Yeah, that one is rational.
All dogs don't, but all dogs don't bite. Prof, all dogs don't bite people. Some dogs do. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying some dogs that are badly trained can bite people, big or small.
But you know what? Since I was bug, since then, anybody who has a dog is I run away from the person.
You see,
I run away from the person.
You see, I was bitten by a monkey in my shin in Nigeria. The holes are still in my. I can still see the scars in my shins. I can't go around disliking all monkeys. It might sound reasonable, but it's unreasonable, surely.
What's the irrational one, Prof?
But it's not irrational, though.
That's not irrational.
Which one of yours is really irrational? Which one of yours is,
Sometimes when people are afraid of coming out where other people are.
Agoraphobia.
Yeah, when I have a friend who don't want to go to any public event.
Yeah.
When
very common.
When the husband wants to go, she would just give the children to prepare the children, let the husband take them, but she wouldn't go. She doesn't go to public events. She prefers to stay at home, cook, sleep. But she's a doctor, by the way, medical doctor.
So she
So that
sees
one,
people one-on-one, does she?
she does. She does. I don't know, but she does, though.
So here's a question,
So
right? And
that
this is,
one I call irrational phobia.
wow, you
That's
see, there'll be in her, so I would say in a subconscious mind, there will be an incident or something that happened where there was a group of people, and whether she felt mocked or felt or was made to feel like she was out of place, she shouldn't be there, or something would have
yeah.
happened to trigger. It's a
She said
trauma for sure.
she's yeah, it's a trauma. She said when she was in high school, uh, friends made fun of her, and they ridiculed her to the extent that during a break, during lunch, she just runs to lunch and eats. Sometimes she stays anywhere she can. She can go to the restroom and eat, and just hide away. So
Wow.
that's the way.
So
But she was
sad.
so intelligent, though, very intelligent.
How did
And
she cope with university?
oh, when she was in university, and she was in a medical. She was in a medical school, made the best grade, was the valedictorian. I mean, so those people who study so much, those cockroaches, they don't really have time to go to the parties. They don't have time for
They're just
parties.
there in it, but I mean, you are in a well, in our country, certainly.
Cubicle.
Yeah,
She's
well, yeah, no, you're the way we are. If we're in medical school, you're either walking around with doctors, or you're
oh
other
yeah,
doctors,
nobody
or
has
you're in
time.
a lecture hall. So you've
So,
got
so
lots of people in the lecture hall.
oh
One
yeah,
of Ben's roommates never left her room and did all her lectures online.
Mm.
you know
An
what?
Indian lass.
She says
Yeah.
sometimes they will leave and don't come back for maybe 4 days. So from this round to this round, 24 hours, we'll come back and sleep for some time, go to another round. And where does she see people? I mean, graduated, went to these 3 years, what do you call them? And when she finished, she went and did
Yeah.
after residency, she went and
Hmm.
majored, and then that I mean, she just hides in and hides out. Makes good money, but she doesn't go to any. Makes good money, but she
Social.
yeah.
How does that? That must affect her relationship. But then he would know what
Oh, the
she's
husband
like. So
already. The husband knew her before they got married, so they knew each other. They know their boundaries. They know what to do and what not to do. You don't want to invite us
Mm.
unless that's a very good friend, and it depends before she can go.
hmm.
Yeah, she
But
said she
again,
was.
it's the same as being bitten by a dog. I see that as rational, not
Oh yeah.
irrational.
Oh,
That
are
is a
you? Is
rational
that it?
agoraphobia. Mm,
Oh, is that rational? I thought
yes,
it's irrational.
no, because it's
I thought it's
trauma,
irrational.
because it's trauma induced. Because there's like you being bitten by a dog. She was
Yeah.
mocked by people, and that has made her response to everybody that they're all going to
Yes.
mock her. The world is going to mock
Uh,
her. So
yeah.
she's got that fear, just like you've got of the dogs, she's got
Oh
that
yeah.
of people. So actually, it's the same place in the mind, but it's you had an actual bite, she had an actual trauma being mocked. So you can see now that it's not irrational, it's actually trauma based. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, okay, I call it trauma. Well, that's you were right. You are. You know the stuff. You
Thank you.
know better. But I thought it's irrational because
It
no
seems
matter.
it. It seems
Yeah.
it. But when you think about it, there's always something that starts it off, you know? But
Yeah.
it's good that she lets her kids go out, her children go out, because
Oh
then the
yes.
children aren't feeling the same
Yeah.
thing. They're not copying mum, you know.
Like now
So
they
that's a
don't.
good thing.
Yeah, they want to
And
go to.
small groups are probably okay with people that she cares about and gets on with. That would be
Mm,
different, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Mm,
But
yeah.
she still goes to her job. Does a good job being a doctor. But well, you don't. If you invite her, she will not go. That's no need of inviting her.
Mm.
Actually, I know people who are afraid of
Mm.
flying
Mm,
in an airplane.
yeah.
Which one is that? Phobia or I mean,
Yes.
rational
Yeah.
or
That's a
irrational?
phobia. But it's again not the fear of flying is a phobia, but being on a plane and then thinking it's going to crash is the irrational one. So you
Mm-hmm.
would say that the fear of flying is the fear of planes and airplanes and flying is one thing, but actually when you're on the plane going, I wonder if I picked the right seat. Should I be near the front or am I safer down the back? That is irrational, right?
Mm.
Okay.
Get it?
Mhm.
But the
So
fear of planes themselves is rational, and that is called, are you ready for this one? Hang on, the fear of planes. It's called aviophobia, as in aviation, aviophobia or
okay, okay,
aviophobia. Mm.
okay. What about fear of death? You know, there are
Mm.
people who don't want to go to where. What
I like that. I like
Sorry, the fear of what? Say it
death.
again.
fear of death?
Yeah, they're
Death.
gonna die.
Right.
That's not just they're gonna die. They don't want to see a dead person. You don't want to bring
I
fear
don't
of
know.
death.
I don't know. I don't know. See,
Th- There
I've
is
got a
a
fear. I've got a fear of death. You know, so
Oh,
again,
that's
fear of
fear of
death or a
death.
fear of dead
That's
yeah.
people. What have you got?
So mine again goes back to my childhood in Nigeria. You know, they got this thing. You know, when someone dies before the funeral, there's a wake. So and basically I had to walk through my grandmom's room when she passed away. Right. I thought I
oh,
had it. I really thought I had it. You know, there were other people there, loads of people walking through. You know, you walk through. I guess you acknowledge that she's there, and then you move on at the other door. Except as soon as I got in and saw her with a stuffed nose and everything else and stuffed everything, I panicked. I just panicked. I just crumbled. Literally, I think I was carrying some fruit in my t-shirt, right? Folded over. They just fell
mhm.
everywhere, and I just had a hissy fit, total hissy fit. Since then, I don't like the idea of looking at a dead body at all. I just can't stand the idea. But my wife's a nurse, so there you go. What can I say, right?
Mhm.
She talks death all the time, so I've had to get used to it. You know, it's what it is. I won't want to look at a dead body unless I really have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know someone who is claustrophobia. My
Mm.
husband is claustrophobia. That's a room in the house that he doesn't want to get in.
Yeah.
When he open the door, he just stay on the door. He doesn't want to come into this room
I like that.
because it was built like a coffin. That's the way it was. And then so he doesn't want to come over there. So if I want to make him really mad, I'll just get him.
Prof, that's mean. That's mean. That's a
I
mean
just get into
person,
that room.
right?
I say, okay, bye.
That's a mean person. You know.
But knowing that that would do it to him, I'm now thinking about getting some needles out
Yeah.
just
You're
to
not just
upset
going
my
to be
husband.
fun all the time. Sometimes you have to be mean. Someday you gotta be mean.
I
I
like
like
that
that.
idea.
And the dead body thing, I was when I was in the hospital with COVID, and they were just about to put me on a ventilator, and one of the professors came in from Adam Brooks, and he was like, because of this, that, and the other, they didn't think it was the right decision. That it's probably not a good thing. It's a very good thing they didn't, because everyone that was on the ventilator seemed to have died, um, and they were flatlining around me, and to hear that noise, like you see it on the television on
Mm,
Casualty or
mm. Do,
a
do,
hospital program, and it went
do.
beep,
Yeah, they kind of died.
Shut the curtains round them, and when they open
Mm.
the curtains, they're gone. It's like magic, you know. And then shut your curtains, but your curtains are made of cardboard or thin paper, and they
Mm.
shut your curtains so that you can't see, and the magic happens. They wheel them out, and then they open your curtains. It's like a magic show, and you're like going, "Oh my God, there's another one gone." And like I was in an ICU room, but there were four of us in there. I think they call it ITU now, but anyway, whatever. I was in this room, and literally they started with four, and it was like 10 green bottles. That every time,
Oh
they're thinking,
goodness.
"Oh,
They're trying to
what happened?"
traumatize you.
For
Well,
me, it's
there are
like that
some.
noise. That noise now. I'm in a hospital every time even when I just had the operation recently, I'm watching the machine going bidip 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 bidip, and they're like, "What are you watching?" Nothing. Bidip 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 bidip. I've got a television over here with all
Yeah.
this going on.
Yeah.
That is so much more interesting to me. The fact that I'm going bidip 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 bidip, and then it goes, "Bidip." You go, "No! Oh, okay, bidip." And I'm literally, it's like I'm holding my breath because I'm waiting and I'm getting hyperventilating because it's going,
Mm.
"Bidip, bidip, bidip, bidip." And then it catch
Oh
up.
my goodness.
Horrendous, honestly. And in the end, they came and they said, "We're going to move the machine. We can't have
Mm.
this. You're making us get hysterical out there. We're
Yeah.
laughing ourselves to death because we're watching you doing it to yourself."
Mm.
I
Mm.
tell you, Paulette,
Uh-huh.
ignore the machine. No, 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 no. I have to watch the monitor. Bidip, bidip. And like Charles said to me, "I'm over here. Right? He's sitting over there. The machine's over here.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking to me. And I'm over there. I'm watching
You're still
my
looking over
monitor."
there because
And in the end, Charles asked them to move the monitor so I couldn't see it. And then
mm.
I was like, "Now I've just got to sit here and imagine the monitor going bidip, bidip, bidip." I don't know what's worse, you know?
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
irrational, absolutely, or rational, I don't know. Because the rational thing is it was a trauma response to what happened during COVID. I mean, literally, there were three went, and I was the last one standing. And I was like, "Okay." And then he comes in and says, "I don't think you're going home tonight." And you go, "That's okay, I'll go home tomorrow." He goes, "No, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean that. I meant I don't think you're going to be going home." And I looked at him and went, "It's okay, I'll go tomorrow, it's fine." He's like, "Okay, I'll talk to your husband." Like,
No.
blaming it on the drugs. And I'm like thinking, "That's okay, I'll go home. It doesn't matter, another day. I'll give it another day. No problem." Not thinking that the bidip, 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 beep
Yeah,
was what he was
babe. Well,
thinking.
let's
You see?
go. Yeah. Look.
Can
What's
you
the
imagine
answer?
a life without me, Annie? It wouldn't be
No.
fun.
No. No.
No,
That would
it
be
wouldn't be
terrible.
fun.
No.
But
No.
I put Charles through hell. I mean, in 28 years, the poor man has. I put him through hell. I can't lie. He's seen more blood, needles, and death or near
Mm.
death than I care to say. But the key point is that the rational fear is of dying. It's it is a real fear of dying, not of dead bodies. I saw them.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
didn't. I just they were there 1 minute, then
Hold
they
on.
won't be, and
Hold
they
on.
were
Hold
gone.
on. The fear of dying is as ludicrous as all the others because when you die, nothing happens. You're dead. End of.
Only those who are
And only those. Go
only
on,
those
Prof.
who are
Please.
alive will know that you died.
Thank you,
Otherwise,
Prof. I agree with you. So I don't know what anyone's scared of dying for because you're dead.
It's just
Nothing's gonna
it's
happen.
knowing. Listen, once I'm gone, I'm gone. But it's the
Yeah.
knowing.
You don't. You don't.
I don't want to see
You will
that
never
thing going.
know.
Ba-dip, ba-dip,
As soon as
ba-dip,
your
ba-dip.
machine goes beep, you're done, Paul. Like, you don't care
uh,
anymore.
unless
Yeah, but
You're
after
done.
unless the
making
person
it go,
is sick,
I stop breathing.
Yeah. That's the
unless
end
the
of
person
that.
is sick,
Sick.
mhm, and needs help, otherwise you would not know that. You wouldn't know
Yeah.
about.
Really, but I think when you've seen death and you've seen it like that, it just makes you a little bit. It's all a little bit. It's not like spiders. I mean, spiders. That's completely irrational. I get that. I know it, but it's a real,
Mhm.
real fear.
Yeah.
Fear. real fear.
Yeah.
Just like Professor Sana said, Prof said it's scary to go around a house with dogs, right? If you came to my
Yes.
house, not only would you be scared, you'd be wet because it would be on your chest, licking your chops all over
Oh
you,
my
going,
goodness.
"Hello."
Yeah, don't come to mind. I got two big dogs that would jump on you, and just want to lick you to death too.
Wow.
But I think no, there's a cultural thing in our phobias. If you ask me, I think the dog thing is a very African thing because of the way we keep dogs in Africa.
Yes.
In England, our dogs are on our beds. I mean, they're in the house. In Nigeria, your dog's not in the house. Your dog is out
Yes.
there. Bingo's out there. They always call bingo by that as well. By the way,
And they are
they're
not
out there.
not well taken care of, though.
No, so they can eat you when they have no manners. So we think they have
When
no
they're
anything.
hungry,
Right. It's all of that. You
when
know,
they're hungry, they
They taste Professor Roxana and they go,
they
"Yum,
want to
yum,
eat
yum."
you.
oh
Yeah.
no, that was I don't think I've ever forgotten that.
What is the answer, Paulette? How do we leave this conversation today? Do we leave them to all go back with their phobias, or do we
I think
say
no,
face up to it?
no. I think be like Ben. I'm gonna got a little fly. I would say, one sec, sorry. Be more Ben,
Bless you.
right? If you
Bless
think
you.
about Ben being able to deal with those buttons
Mm,
in a way of just almost he overcame it by excitement. Something else was more important than that habit, the habit of changing his clothes as soon as he got in the car. It
mm,
was he overcame it by something that was more important and more exciting to him. That was all that it took. Um, and I think that we can be very, like, as I said, I've gone from not being able to put in a Tupperware container or container over a spider and being still fearful to now being able to get it with my little gadget. So that to me is a huge move forward. Quite often Charles will come home. He's
mm.
been out, gone to the pub or whatever, and when he comes home, I go, "There's something for you in the lounge," and it's in the little container because I can't. Once I've got it, I've got to leave it there. I mean, it's quite a decent sized container. One of them I did chop a leg off, and I was saying sorry, and I'm like, "What the heck?" It was scaring the shit out of me, and he's now a disabled spider because I've chopped half his leg off. But moved just as I went to get him, so kind of it was his fault. But I wouldn't harm a creature, but I'm scared. I can't. But that's a huge move forward. Am I going to ever have a tarantula in my hand? Not on
That's
your
what
life.
that's what I was just thinking of. I remember, our gardener bloke caught one in Dumrep. Literally saw it in the wall, big spider thing, hairy thing, dangerous thing. That's really dangerous, right? And then went in a tea cloth and he put it over and picked it up. Put it in a
Mhm.
Tupperware for us. We tried to take it home. It didn't quite make it. I can just imagine you dying, Paulette. There's no need.
Beep.
Not everything wants to eat you. Not everything wants to eat you, or poison you, or cut you to bits. I think that the whole point of the danger we feel is excessive to what the situation can cause.
Big fish, little fish.
Yes,
That's
exactly
what
that.
you've got to think, right? If it's a shark, it's a shark size problem and it's a
Mm.
shark size reaction. But if it's a little fish,
Spider.
it should only be a little fish reaction, not the big
Yes,
fish.
agree.
You
Unfortunately,
know that you know that anxiety disorder is also irrational phobia.
yeah,
Anxiety.
Mm.
It's
Yep,
exactly.
yep,
it's
yep.
irrational.
Well,
So
panic
people,
attacks they call
yeah, yeah.
technically they call them irrational because
Mm-hmm.
they sorry, my throat's awful. I'll just have a swig. Hang on. Panic attacks are called irrational because there's no rational reason to bring them on. You bring them on yourself.
Yes.
They still happen. No one's denying they happen, but it's why they happen. How do they get brought on? And for me personally, I've known people with panic attacks, and I've not understood what's happening at all. But they are having a full-blown panic attack. As a first aider, then I had to be the person to go over and try and help. But a panic attack that turns into an asthma attack, that turns into 999 and an ambulance, that's very, very scary, where someone can't breathe or can't, because they can't regulate. If you're a first aider, you're taught the breathing techniques, you're taught to teach them to calm down, drink some water, bring everything has got to come down. The heart rate's got to come down, the anxiety rate's got to come down, everything's got to come down. It's very hard to do when someone's like, they're gasping for breath and they're really getting themselves more worked up. The higher they go up, the harder it is to get them down. So if you can stop them before or just as they start to go into a panic attack, and you can do that yourself by breathing, just the box breathing, any kind. Somebody once said, and I'm not sure who, it might be Mel Robbins, you can always go back to your breath. Always go back to breathing. Doesn't matter what the situation, doesn't matter what the fear, what's happening, go back to your breath, go back to breathing. Because if you stop breathing,
you're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a good place to leave it. My next show starts soon, so we're gonna talk about. I think we'll talk about LinkedIn, the RSVP paradox. So how people RSVP versus their intent. So that now you get hundreds of RSVP, but only 10 turn up. What's going on there? Christina's going to tell us how to handle that situation, how to leverage the no-shows.
It's a kind of anxiety.
It can be if you let it be, unless you manage your thoughts yourself and manage how you think about it, right?
See, some people see it as a compliment, that somebody wants to come, but they just couldn't make it. So they'll go to the replay, right? So the intent is to go.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, my absence is not a no-show. It's not anxiety. If I cannot come, then I cannot come.
But would you say you could?
But if I can come, yes, I come. Just like he called me today, I'm done with what I'm doing. I said, okay, I'm coming. So I don't see anything bad with it. Coming online, I mean, I come in. If I don't know what to say, I'll listen to the experts and learn from them. Like I'm listening to you now, Paulette. I learn from Annie. I learn from Paulette. You make me smarter.
Come to the show and I come and share your ideas. This Sharon Rose, I don't know what I mentioned you earlier. She says Baby Shark. Yeah, this gives me like the GBs. It's a song, right? I'm sure it's a video. He gives me the GBs sometimes, right? Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
My grandkids like it. That's probably why I have a phobia about it. He's like, Sharon Rose says, Alex, panic attack once, terrifying. I was in parking lot.
Grandkids, any?
So I can go walking into a grocery store and happen out of nowhere. So yeah, that really must be scary. I guess, like you say, you just have to learn to breathe, Paulette.
It's all about breathing. Life is all about breathing, but when you have attacks like this, it's all about breathing and getting back to your breath.
Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it. I mean, so I'm sure we're going to do another show on this. So just to hear more of people's phobias, because people have.
I would love them to put them in the comments. Listen, comments, stories, all of it. I read every comment. I try to respond to every comment. I love reading what you say in the comments. And I wasn't going to show today because my cold was really horrible yesterday, but I dosed myself up and I'm here. And I apologize if I sound very nasally.
No, you don't. You look good, though.
Yeah, you look good. You sound just you sound
all right. You sound good. You look good.
I love
really look good.
I
you
love
look good,
you.
though.
So I'm gonna get some food now, and so I'll probably pop along a bit later on, but I will definitely come, even if it's only for
Awesome.
half an hour.
Yeah.
But it will be after some food because I promised to eat after the show. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you as always.
So this
Oh, hang
is
on, Liz has got a
an
comment. 1
interesting
minute.
take. You say one thing I would add about panic attacks and anxiety, they happen because of fluctuating hormones when
Oh
you're not
yes,
thinking anything negative. Yeah, so there are many reasons that these irrational fears do happen, right?
Yeah, many
absolutely,
reasons.
But
many.
but the solution is still the same. You got to calm down.
You've always got to
Yeah.
calm down and just get on top of it with your breathing, because that's the only thing that will keep you on the planet is breathing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
And
what you go back to.
stop listening to all this news. There's
Right.
some
Sorry. Before we go, one quick thing. If you have children, or if you're around children or grandchildren or anything like that, please, if you can, keep the television on something completely
I
different,
know.
because I know breaking news comes on whatever you're watching, but
No.
just don't put it on. Put a film on. Put
No.
something on Netflix or whatever it is. Do not have the
Unfortunately.
television on, because it is scaring the life out of children. Um, there's talk about World War III. It's all over the place, and there's Mum's Net today, which I'm on, which is a massive mumsnet.com. It's a huge organization, and they have suggested no TV or only films because it's too scary. Children will
Yes.
just, they'll
It's
hear
not
about it in the playground for sure, because some parent will have let their children watch it. But at least when they come home, you can have a conversation with them and say, look, things are happening and it is very scary,
I
but it's
know.
but it's okay, you know?
It's enough to cause irrational phobia. It's
For
enough.
sure.
I
Absolutely.
hear you. I hear
What
All
they
you.
right,
call
Annie,
what they
I know
call
you have to
news.
go. I know
Yeah,
you
so,
have to go,
we do
lovely.
have to go. I'm sure we're going to bring this back another day, like I say.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank
And
you,
if you
everyone.
mention in the next show, Annie, please re-mention, because it might be different people in there about children and the TB, because it is really important.
You come and tell them. So,
Oh
the
yeah.
people who cried about the war is it's more adults, in my ears. Which is anyway.
Mm.
Look, join us, Paulette,
Okay,
and come and share the
I
point.
will after I've had
Yes.
some food. All right,
Yeah.
take care,
Thank,
everyone. Bye
Bye,
bye.
thank
Thank you for
everyone.
you. Thank
Bye,
coming.
you.
everyone.
It's
Thanks,
nice
everyone,
seeing
who
you
joined us.
again.
So 2 weeks time,
Nice
we're back
seeing you.
again. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Nice seeing you.
She retrained her heart to heal the young, turned her passion into purpose, work begun. Co-author of a movement, not-for-profits game, teaching kids that